So how good has Carson Wentz been in his first four games this season? Well, actually, he's been significantly better his first four this year compared to last year. Wentz has upped his completion percentage to 68%, improved his touchdown to interception ratio, and increased his passer rating to nearly 105.
Offense.
Good numbers, Colleen.
You know who knows a lot about this game?
What's that?
Tommy P. Tom Pelissero in the house this morning. I'm really glad that we let you in. I heard you were locked out for a little bit.
Garofolo doing fantastic work. He's getting ready to do a show. And I'm also saying, can you just ask someone to come allow me to come in? I'd really like to do this show.
Stop making it sound like you were politely asking. I can show the text. We will bring them up.
They were very sad. Just, I'm out here
sad?
in the rain. Can
also not the word that I would use.
Yeah. Let's get that text and what's trending coming up.
False.
All right, so you've been covering both of these teams. So what are you looking forward to here?
I'm interested to see how the Eagles' offense continues to grow. Carson Wentz was asked this week about, is it a matter of just being that much further away from the knee and getting those reps back that's allowed the Eagles to take the steps forward that we saw last week against the Giants? And he said, no, it's really about the entire offense coming together. A lot of these guys have been there, Wentz and Nelson Aguilar, Alshon Jeffrey, Zach Ertz. They've got a lot of reps together. I asked some of those guys in the locker room yesterday, what's allowed you to kind of rebuild that chemistry? Aguilar told me something interesting. He said every day after practice, they'll watch film just as the skill group, and they talk about it. Aguilar said when you're watching a different quarterback, somebody else on film, it's totally different than being able to look at yourself and say, okay, this is what I like. This is what I need you to do, and what can I do to help you get better? Aguilar said the more you play, the more you see, and that communication allows us to play faster. Well, it sure looks like they're playing pretty fast right now.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
That's huge news right there, man. I mean, you want your skill group to meet together. You guys want to be on the same page. You want to know what your quarterback is thinking. And I'm impressed with a guy. I've been impressed with Zach Ertz. I mean, this guy has been creating separation. He's a matchup nightmare. I'm interested to see if Carolina's going to allow Eric Reed to kind of match up with him in one-on-one situations. But he's even become a better blocker this year. And I think all of that has come from those now that we have this information, the skill group meeting together and him understanding exactly what the quarterback is seeing, especially in the red zone. Dude is an animal in the red zone.
I mean, that's against a top cornerback, that route that you just ran there, or that we just showed there against the Eagles, where you got to respect his route running ability, and he spins the guy like a top. I mean, it's a cornerback. It's not like he's going up against a linebacker or even a bigger safety. It's a cornerback. That shows you his ability to run routes, and it's why so many teams have now tried to find a guy like that. The Dolphins drafting Mike Gesicki this year because of the Zach Ertz factor, because of the matchup issue. But, wow, where were you on that one?
What?
Penn State.
Penn State. I heard a we are.
I just got a little. I know I got you. That's why I know.
My bad. We are Penn State.
Off his game.
So
good.
You would think I went to Penn State or something, but like I got you. Yeah. But Zach Ertz, only Adam Thielen has more catches than him this year out of everybody. Yeah.
That's dope, man. That's how
crazy.
they get the ball to that. They get the ball to their tight ends.
I also like the sound of Nelson Aguilar all of a sudden being a guy who's kind of an experienced voice in that locker room a little bit, because you go back to a couple of years ago when he seemed like he was lost. Now, Tom, you're talking to him, you get a sense that he's, I don't know if he's the one organizing it, but definitely gets a sense for the importance of working together.
Oh, and he understood it, too. He was able to verbalize it very clearly. Here's what we need to do to be able to get where we want to go, because over the course of time, of course, everything's going to evolve within the offense. You're going to have to make adjustments versus different defenses. Well, having that week in, week out, almost a progress report, we don't do it on a day-to-day basis. That's something
that's what you want to check in.
Yeah, and I think to your point as well, I've been very impressed by Carson Wentz in his return back from injury. And we saw him against the Giants on that Thursday night game, and one of the topics of discussion was, has he returned to his MVP form? And I saw him make one play where we saw earlier where he was scrambling to the right and threw it back across his body, which you're not supposed to do as a quarterback, and he made it work and threw it to Alshon Jeffrey and scored a touchdown. So I would say, yes, he is back to his MVP form, and the stat just showed that he's even better than he was last year.
The Eagles do something every week on their social media accounts and their website that a lot of teams don't do. I wish they would. They let their coaches get up there and break down some film and tell you what. And quarterbacks coach Press Taylor talked about that play, and he's like, all credit to Carson Wentz. Not drawn up. We don't expect it. This is not what we were expecting. It's just the guy making a play.
Tommy, I'm glad you're here, man. I got a question about this defense, and if you got any information about the secondary, right? Like, it seems like this dominant defense that was last year with the Philadelphia Eagles, it seems like if you block their front seven, if you max protect and block them up, they'll give up big plays in the back end. Have you seen has there been any talk around that building about trying to fix some of those issues in the back
they've had injuries.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that. You lose Rodney McLeod a couple of weeks ago. They've got some other guys banged up right now. That's certainly an impact. But I'll also tell you this. Every scout, every coach, every player I talk to, when they talk about that front seven and the disruption those guys can cause, this is one of the best groups that you've got in the league, and that's really where it begins. I talked to Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham yesterday. Actually, Greg Van Roten, the left guard for the Panthers, told me, he goes, it's not just the frontline guys, it's the depth. You got Haloti Nada just kind of hanging out
on the sideline.
Right.
That's not a bunch of light work here. So everybody, they can roll so deep. This is going to be a big game, too, for the Eagles to try to stop the run. Every player that I asked yesterday, where does it begin? Stopping the run. It's all about Cam Newton and Christian McCaffrey, because really that sets up their pass game, can clean up the picture for Cam on the back end. You got to be able to handle some of the different looks they throw at you.
Yeah, Cam has more rushing yards than the Eagles' top rusher, Wendell Smallwood. I mean,
Well, Cam is the backup running back for the Panthers.
He is.
We all know that, right?
Right, yeah. So
He might be the starting running back
Maybe.
too.
Maybe.
the Eagles coming off a little bit of a mini bye, so they've had some extra time to prepare, but this will be certainly the battle of two really good front sevens. We also have another big matchup coming up. We got the Bengals and the Chiefs.